Okay, folks, Friday night. Let's get a little bit of painting done. We're gonna see if we can finish up this galloglass guy. And that's definitely first on our priority list. Once he's complete, we'll be halfway through these blades. So, good stuff. All right, let's see where we're at. And make sure this comes up. Okay. Yeah, I wish there was more options to wish there was more options here on the chat to be able to leave these up. It tends to disappear on me, but all right, well, we're just gonna plug along like we've been doing. All right. It's just before 9 p.m. right now, so not sure how long we'll be able to make it, but I imagine at least an hour. I want to get this guy done for sure, because then I can say I've got half of these guys done. So here's the other guys waiting in the wings, and there you are, Mr. St. Louis. How are you? See if we can get this guy done. Then we'll have half of these blades done. And here's the other guys going to be waiting in the wings to get done for that. So, anyhow, yeah, this is definitely what we're going to do. We're going to finish this guy, then we'll roll and finish those. Then we'll varnish them, base them, and then they'll look just like these folks here, the rest of the army. So, and then we'll see if the mounted have come in then. If they haven't come in, then we will go in probably the direction of some Scots. I may do the command stand before I do the pikemen. Mix it up a little bit, do some mounted guys. I looked through my lead pile. Lead pile makes it seem like it's all in one place. It's not. It's kind of subdivided. And I was looking through the lead pile to see what knights I was going to use, and I kind of went into it a little bit. I really didn't delineate specifically which guys it's going to be. So I know that I'm probably only going to do one of them that has, I don't even know how you say it, Carpasian, as we like to say, the knights that have the heraldry on them like the cloth. Okay, I'm only going to do that for the general. The other two guys will just be on horses with no livery on them. That's the direction I'm probably going to go in, because I don't want the main guy to be overshadowed, because as it is, he's probably going to have the more basic livery, which is unusual. So because Edward the Bruce, all he has is a red chevron on a white background, so it's really simple, like one little V, an upside down V, almost like a lambda type thing. That's it. And the other knights are going to be more complicated than that. Okay, your gaming room is almost complete. Okay, excellent. Good. And you asking about Osprey books. Did you get your answers? Did you know you can buy most of these books in PDF from off the Osprey site? Yes, but here's my we'll have to go get it. It's in the other room. But I actually had the book. Didn't know that. I was doing a search for it, And I actually had the book I was asking for about. I guess that's a sign that you have too many books when you're like, hey, what book is this in? I think I'm not getting it. Dude, you already got it. I probably picked it up 10 years ago at a bookstore in town that closed. And isn't that funny? I remember where I got the book, but I don't remember that I had it. Fun times ahead, folks. Uh, it was half off. The store was closing. For some reason, they had a lot of Osprey books. This is like a University of Florida bookstore type thing. So it wasn't really like a hobby store. It wasn't like a Borders or anything. When our Borders closed, Borders had a lot of Osprey type stuff. But I ended up picking that one in particular out for half off. So that is, I do have that book. So I just didn't realize that I did. I do a lot of picture surfing, so sometimes I don't realize that I have stuff that I do. But yes, I did get the answer. And once they told me what book I was on, I'm like, I've got both of those Scandinavian volumes. I picked both of them. There may be a third one too. Anyways, I picked both of them up, and I had used them when I was painting my Norwegians way back when. Um, so yeah, that's my moment there of not realizing that I had something I was looking for. I'm sure it'll happen again, but it saved me a lot of money having it already. No, I want to read up on the guys because that's one of their allies is the Scots Isles uh, of this army. So that's I'll be painting some of those guys up as well, and they're going to be really similar to the galloglass from the standpoint that they're armed similarly, but they every one of the figures has a shield. So there's some examples in there, but most of the examples of the shields I'm probably going to just have to pull out of my nether regions. But that's okay. I'm a pro. I'm used to doing that. Um, they're just not going to have any particular heraldry. They're going to have a combination of things on there. But that'll be 3 stands of blade. So that's 12 shields I'll be looking to create out of nowhere. So not a big deal. I've done it with the with my Norwegians as well. So I'd like to use the real heraldry if it's available, but if it isn't, you just kind of have to go with your gut. So um, anyhow, what else we got here? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. My favorite books in my elementary library, Osprey books on the Vikings. I checked those books out a million times. Osprey books weren't around when I was in elementary school. I'm dating myself. Um, no, I mean that means you're even younger than I am, and I tend to be on the historical gaming. I'm definitely on the younger end, and I'll be 50 next year. But most historical gamers, at least the ones I play, are higher or are higher. Are they're older than I am. So yeah, if you're checking out Osprey books from your library, I'm surprised your elementary school even had Osprey books. That's pretty cool. The only books I had growing up that kind of influenced what I do now, or my wargaming, or my love for history, is there was this series that they had, and they were bound. It wasn't the original one. It wasn't the original binding, but they were like bound like all in red or all in blue, and it would say on the end of the book, on the bookend, what it was. And it was a series that they had of like the Battle of the Atlantic stuff. So you had one of the they had a couple of those, and that's how I got my love for the naval stuff. I devoured those, and all the German surface raiders during World War II, and that's what I really dug into. And I was probably around 11, 12, something like that. That's when I started reading those, and that's what really when my World War II interest started picking up. So that would have been 1982, 1983. So That's the only kind of books that I remember in the library. I'm sure there was other things, but that's during that time when I started going through that. That was before, they I had any really books in my own collection. So, um, but you turned 50 this year, 3 months ago. Okay, so you've got a little bit on me. 3 months ago, we're in August, so you're in May. I'm in June of next year. So, and if you're anything like me, you probably don't feel 50. I feel like I still feel like I'm 25, but 25 years of shit, I'm just not going to put up with anymore. Like, I've seen that before. I'm not going to put up with that crap. But I don't feel old. I don't even say it. I do seem to say all the time, that's not me. I'm old school. I seem to say that all the time to my daughter and such. So, but I don't feel old, thankfully. Um, Maybe they weren't ospreys that had osprey looking art. Yeah, I don't know. Some ospreys are pretty old. One of the oldest ones that I have and is I just picked it up the other day. Well, it's the oldest book I have, but it's not necessarily the oldest one that I picked up. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say. I'm looking for a book and trying to talk. Obviously, that's overtaxing for me. I know this is a reissue, but I picked this up earlier this year. And I know it's a reissue. This is the Landschneck book, which is interesting that I picked it up after I finished that army. But this one in particular is, yeah, this is like there's this really cool bookstore in Jacksonville, which is about an hour and a half from us. And anytime I go up there, I try to go up there because this is, you can see here it's marked that this is a $10 book, but they sold this for $5. And dude, this is brand new. I mean, I don't think anybody ever read this. I mean, it's like you're buying a used book, but you're not. I mean, there's some scuffing here, but that's about it. It's a brand new book. You could get one through Amazon and end up getting this, and you wouldn't know the difference, right? So the date of the publishing of this one in particular is 1976 is the original one. So there's your answer. They could have been Osprey books, okay? Because I know this one's been around a while. Yeah, this Osprey book is so old it doesn't have art by Angus McBride, which unfortunately he passed away because he's like my favorite artist of all time, of that kind of stuff. So yeah, so 1976. So yeah, you could have checked out an Osprey book, you know. Um, Maybe you had those old the Funkin' books. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but before, like in the 70s and 80s, a lot of people used those Funkin' books as guides. And the style of the art is very similar. It's actually very similar to that one that I just put away. I've seen some at a show and they wanted some like absorbent amount for them. And they're also dated by today's standards, but they've got like a lot of knights and pikemen and stuff like that, and they're in color. I mean, they're drawings and stuff, and they made a whole series of people used to swear by those things, and we're talking about in the 70s and the 80s. They've been out of production for a long time, but I did hear about it. Funkin, Funcken, and that may be what you're thinking of. But it could have very well been that book. You see, the publishing date's 1976, so you know. Um, I'll still find some ospreys like at Books a Million and stuff like that. Be like, somebody misordered these, like and unfortunately, they're all over the place. I mean, there's so many topics that Osprey makes, and there's so many topics that Osprey makes that I don't have the slightest interest in. So. I do like history. I do like military history, but there's a lot of military history I don't care to ever read about. I'm just not interested in it. Um, but that's okay. Somebody else is interested in that and doesn't give a crap about these Irish guys. So it's a little bit for everybody. So. Um, Australian Greg's here. All is good. He said my city library had all of the Grant miniature wargaming books. I would check them out over and over, but we never played. Not sure why. Oh, there was one of them that like there was one that has like scenarios and stuff, and it looked really cool. And I've come close to picking that one up, but I think that's one of them, like wargaming scenarios. It's something like that. They're like a WRG style binding and stuff like that. I think that's one of those from that series. I don't have any of them, so but I think I know what you're talking about. Okay, so let's paint this guy's axe. I don't mind you guys interrupting me. I actually like that a lot. Some interaction, so don't feel bad or anything. Um, it's a good thing. It keeps me interested instead of just sitting here and droning on. For that, I wouldn't even turn the phone on. So yeah, there's lots of subjects that Osprey makes, and then there's some books that, in my opinion, suck. And I hope I don't offend somebody, but let me give you an example. They have one on Alexander the Great. Okay, so really cool, right? I mean, lots of people are interested in Alexander the Great, and people want to see pictures of his army. And then they have like a lot of his soldiers not in the poses that you would. This is actually an Angus McBride book in particular. I don't own it, but I've seen it and I looked through it. I'm like, I wouldn't pick this thing up. I'd be upset. It doesn't show hardly any of the pikemen. It shows like a guy barefoot, like burning a house down or something. It's like that's not what we need as war gamers. But so there's some that are lackluster from their standpoint of what pictures they decided to put in there. Now, because of what the subject matter of the pictures is, not that the pictures are done in a crappy quality, because it's still an Angus McBride. You know, Angus McBride's kind of like a Rembrandt, right? For anything, it's pretty much gold. I don't know that I've seen a picture of his. I don't really care for. Um, but but yeah. Um, And the other book that I love that's been around forever, and I bet your library had it, and I love the style the art is done in. And I'm going to pull this thing out. Hell, I don't care if I don't get any painting done. How about that? This guy right here. And I picked this up probably in the early 2000s because, prior to 2004, I had zero interest in medieval and ancients. I hadn't been exposed to it, and I didn't know anything about this silly little game with a three letter acronym. But this thing right here, this warfare in the classical world, this thing is awesome. And this, I think I picked this thing up for like $20 or something, and this is worth every penny. And I'm real anal retentive of my books. Like I've read this whole thing, but like I said, you could probably get it from Amazon in this condition. I don't like the trash books, so I don't write in them. And anyhow, yeah, the art in here is really, really, really nice. I also have the Connolly book, the Rome at War. I don't care for the art in that one as much, but this one is a nice mixture of cool art that that a lot of figures are probably based on, that are modeling, and you've got some diagrams, you got battle stuff, you got some black and white stuff. Really good for like basic information. I really enjoyed it a lot. There's my boy Paris. I really enjoyed a lot from kind of getting some of that. I wouldn't say basic information, but a little bit more than that from here. And yeah, you guys have all seen this. This is a classic. Look at that. There's your classic Spartan right there. Awesome. And who did Wari did the art in this one as well, or did he just do the writing in it? Let's see what it says. Designer, picture research, Caroline Lucas, color figures, Jeff Byrne from Salamander Books. Color equipment drawing. So it looks like it's a compilation of different people that did this. But it looks like color figures, Jeff Byrne. Well, I really like Jeff Byrne's style. A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. So, really, really cool. But yeah, this is a great book. So, and it's extremely affordable. I would say that, there's some books that you come across like, man, that's a pretty penny. And there's some that are like, really? That's all this thing is? You know, I think this was like a $20 book. So, yeah, I got that one. The other one I was talking about that I don't like so much, people like trip over themselves and love it and love it. I really haven't. I picked this one up at a discount as well. And it's this one. It's the Greece and Rome at War book. This one, the art just doesn't speak to me. It looks kind of washed out. It's similar. You can see some of these battles. They might even be the same in both of the games, but the type is, I don't know. It's kind of washed out. It's actually probably a millionth time it's been printed also. So this thing was printed in 1981. So first published in Great Britain in 1981. I guess they didn't call it the United Kingdom back then, just Great Britain. Oh, here it is. I paid $8.95 for this. I got this at the used bookstore. Yeah, this hasn't been used. Okay, this is like, there's good stuff to be found out there. There's really good stuff to be found, and I probably need to go through this one as well. There's some similar stuff like this. This looks like it's common to both books. This type of stuff right here. But anyhow, I don't like this one as much. But the content, the material might be okay. I just mean like drawing wise. Sometimes you'll get a book and you're like inspired by the look of all the stuff on there. And, you know, well, since we're going to be talking about books, I guess this is book night. It's book club night, and I didn't even realize it. But this is another one that I picked up that is spectacularly great. It was the Atlas of the Medieval World. Okay, and I picked this one up a long time ago. And I'm a map fiend. I love anything map related. Always did. My dad always had a bunch of atlases and stuff laying around. And this thing here shows, I think it runs like from the fall of the Roman Empire until Renaissance. But it's got lots of different stuff that are in, it's like a historical thing, but it'll show where the battles are and the ways, you know, like the ways in this particular situation how the Ottomans expanded, and just lots of maps and stuff that would be useful for campaigns. And again, I probably got this before the internet was big, and I'm going to say that's probably 2000 and I probably got it around 2005 and stuff. I mean, yes, there was an internet, but it's not like it is now. Now it's just insane. I mean, you don't need encyclopedias, or you almost don't even need books. But anyhow, I'll probably have this book the rest of my life. So knock on wood. But you know, here's all the England, Ireland, and you know how some things are subdivided by different. You know, just really, really good stuff. This is a great book. So I frequently look at this and go, oh, okay, that's you know, that's that, and these guys are in relation to the other ones, and okay, if I'm building these, who's next to them, that kind of stuff. So a really, really a good one. This was probably something I picked up at probably Borders, honestly. Our Borders probably closed around 2008, 2009. And they seemed to, when they first opened, they had all the military type stuff that us war gamers like. You know, that's what we thrived on. So, but I guess they didn't do too well. And I think before they closed down, they got rid of all the chairs. I think there was a lot of people that just came there and read books and just sat in a chair. And I don't want to. I get distracted easy when I read. So I can't really go someplace and read a book, because any person that walks by, I'll be like, huh? You know, so, but if it's, you know, I don't mind checking things out, and if it's good, I'll take it home with me. You don't want to buy a dud book, you know, but, yeah, we'll have to do some more book reviews. I got a lot of them, and I've got, you know, the ones that I've kept, are ones that, I think are pretty cool, you know, so let's see here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh my goodness. High time pay station. Surprisingly, there are large gaps in Osprey's covers. Yeah, and they usually happen in the 1500s. Yes, that is the Warrior book, Greg. Warfare in the Classical World. May have to get that one. You don't have it? It's awesome. It is the most awesome one ever. It's incredible. It is it's probably I guarantee it's under $30 for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know much about that era. I would like that kind with all the pictures, maps, and battle diagrams. Yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, you're into history, okay? So just because you don't play medievals and ancients doesn't mean you don't know about Charlemagne. You just may not know what battles, the details. So that's, when you start getting in gaming another period, it's easy to fill in the gaps and stuff. And it'll all make sense to if you're interested in history, which I'm sure you are. Uh, I still think books are the best because all in one place, organized, and you can really look at the photos. Yeah, yeah, I agree too. I like the internet, and honestly, I don't find that much stuff wrong on the internet. Of course, I'm not searching for politics and stuff or current events. I'm just, I'm looking for things that happened thousands of years ago, and we're probably not going to come up with any new research in my lifetime that's going to make them change what it is. So, um, I think the latest thing that's happened in my lifetime that changed significantly is before I was into military history and stuff like that, or history in general, mainly military history, because I want to participate in it. And playing the game is your way of participating in it. Was dinosaurs. I was into dinosaurs obviously when I was a kid, and they didn't have all the stuff that they do now, or I would have just gone ape shit crazy. I mean, it was just the stuff that's available now is just incredible. But I was really into them, and uh, since the time I was a kid, of course they discover new ones, and they always come up with really retarded names for them. They just come up with names that are like, okay, you're a scientist or you're a PhD, and that's the best name you could come up with. Like Utah Raptor. Why? Because we found them in Utah. Really? That's what you came up with. So, but what they discovered is, along with those other ones, is the whole feathers and whether they have feathers or not. So, um, that's kind of turned it on its head. But that might be something that's still in its infancy. I mean, dinosaurs weren't discovered until late 1800s, I think. I could be wrong, but that seems like that's when everything started. When the whole boom of things going out into the American West and stuff like that, and they started to find those things. But so it's still kind of in its infancy. But but this history stuff on the Romans, it's not like all of a sudden they're going to uncover something and they found this excavation, and all of a sudden we know what kind of symbols the Romans used in their legions on all their shields. That's not going to happen in my lifetime. The kind of details that we want just aren't available. Things weren't written down, or they were written down by one guy, and that information is lost, or they didn't go into the kind of detail that we what we really require as modelers. Because that's what we are. I mean, we're like building scale models, but we're painting them and stuff. So you kind of want to paint them as realistically as you can, and sometimes the information just isn't available out there. You just gotta pull things out of thin air. So um, that's where the books come in. They kind of help you make an educated guess, and so you can sleep at night. So you're not like, well, I just went with purple because I just don't know, so I just guessed. So you look for uh, you look for some subject matter, and at least this is what I try to do, and try to do your best guess of what they possibly could look like if there's like no information or whatever it is. Now, if you're doing something like World War II or Napoleonics or something like that, I mean, all that information's out there. But if you're going much earlier, before 100 Years War and stuff like that, there's just not a lot of information known. So, um, but anyhow, at least that's what I use books for, to kind of wrap my head around it and maybe make some educated guesses when it comes to scenarios or army compositions, or what figures I would put in this army, because I don't trust somebody to put them in an army pack to their liking. that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had that book all along. I didn't know it. Oops. Oops. But yeah, I am going to do some heraldry on the nights. Um, Remember, it's only one stand, so it's not like I can go crazy with it. But I love doing heraldry. Love it. Love painting shields and that stuff. So it's actually difficult to find some information on heraldry, and some is like super easy. So, like for instance, army that's on my short list is the Feudal English, and there is all kinds of information on the heraldry for those guys. Whether you're doing something depending on certain different periods, you know. So I don't know if I'll do them next. They're kind of too good in army. I like playing these lighter guys for the moment being, but I'm not going to worry too much about what comes next because I want to finish these guys, and I'm apt to change my mind what I was going to do. Um, I was actually hesitant to look for knights last night because I didn't want to get sidetracked on on some other project. You know, I know I've got to finish these, and but I was curious to see, okay, what figures do I have? So, like I mentioned the other night, I'm not going to put, as much as I like to do flags, I'm not going to put flags on this command stand for the knights because it's the only knight they have. Um, and I'd be tempted to put a Scottish flag on it, and I don't really want the Scottish flag on a stand that's Edward the Bruce because even though he is the king's brother, I want to leave that flag for like a Scottish army, a proper Scottish army, not just his contingent that came over. So, but again, that's just my take on it. But they're going to stand out from anybody else because they're the only guys that are mounted three figures on a stand. Well, the only knights. They can't have a cavalry in that army, but they're the only knight element, and it's not like it's going to be difficult to remember who the general is when they show up on the field. So. Um, but that's all kind of things that I kind of try to think through. Um, and then as they get closer, like as I get closer to doing the nights, then I'll worry about, okay, well, I want this figure, I don't want that one. I want this one, I don't want the other one. So, um, did the fan not go up? Let's see. Come on, you could do it. There we go. Gotta have air circulation. It's totally dark outside, and I bet it's every bit of 85 degrees out there and 75% humidity. So, yay. It's not that temperature in here. This isn't Mitch's playroom either. The AC works well here. When we play, we have to play in his room in the back of his house. He'll leave his two ACs running constantly, but it's just basically like a huge shed that's not insulated at all. So you know, it's gotten up into the high 90s actual temperature, and maybe even into the 100s. So he leaves it running all day just so we can have a reasonable temperature. But then we've got to turn we got to turn all that stuff off if we're going to film because they're just too noisy. The air conditioning units are too noisy in there. So it wasn't too bad the other night. The one night a couple of weeks ago was just exhausting. It was exhaustingly hot. Um, but let's see, what else we got? Those could melt his miniatures. Um, Not lead ones, but I guess plastic ones they could. Yeah, I'm sure when it's closed up inside there, I bet it would get it into 120 degrees. I bet it sure would, um, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But we don't want to have the air conditioning running and you guys can't hear us. It's kind of weird when you film something and it sounds, you'll have a noise in the, you'll have a noise in there that's at a different level than you actually hear it. Like if we're playing in that room and the air conditioning's running, it's not very loud to us. But if it's on film, the film will pick it all of it up. Same thing if you guys end up hearing like a popping or something like that sound right there, that's my chair. This is like an old computer chair. Well, I don't want to make it sound like it's old because, well, it is, but it's not in bad shape, but it likes to creak and pop on me. It's actually, I've listened to my video, it's actually louder in real life than it is on the video. So I don't know, maybe it's just the frequency of the sound, you know? Nature's little wonders. But that's what this popping and cracking, and I call it the chair bitching. But that's what that is. So, all right, let's do a little bit of highlighting on this axe handle, and then we can move on to maybe his belt. Okay. So that's done. We have a belt that goes with the scabbard. So let me look at the other pose. It's exactly the same. And what color did I use for that one? Because I do not want to use that color. Okay, I used like a dark brown. So let's go ahead and use a red brown for this, guys. And that would be, it's mahogany, should be fine. Some of these colors I've had a long, long time. This one I've probably had since I was painting World War II stuff. 2003, 2002, which that's 18 years ago. But I've got some paints from like 89 that are still alive. And no point in rebuying them until you used all these up. Right. I think this weekend we're going to work off and on. We're going to work on this guy too, the dragon eggs. So this is going to be an edifice. I don't remember who made this. It might be a JR Miniatures or something like that. We're going to mount this on a little stand, and this is going to be an edifice for the army. So you can use it as a built-up area. And I found out the minimum base size is pretty small, so we should be able to mount this on a minimalist type of stand and call it a day. I actually could get away probably with not even mounting it on a stand, but I want get some kind of protection from getting scuffed up. But because this thing's priceless. Not like I couldn't make this myself, but I picked this up several years ago, so we've got that thing hopefully coming up. Trying to be a little bit more proactive about having buildings and stuff like that. For the longest time, we just used felt and stuff for terrain. That just doesn't cut it anymore. Nobody wants to see that. To have nicely painted figures and then felt for terrain, that doesn't really work. So, okay, so we've got the belt on this dude. Let's make sure we got nothing new. What we got here? Kelly, hello, Kelly Davis. How are you? What was my first miniatures game? Well, it's probably a toss-up. It's probably a toss-up between Command Decision, circa 1986, 87, and so the original version of Command Decision, which I still have here somewhere. Well, I know where it is. It's up in the closet, and Sea Creek 4. So I got really interested in World War II when I was in my before teens, yeah, in my pre-teens. So the first chance I got to do some naval wargaming, I was all up for that. So Sea Creek 4 is what we played. It was new at the time, and we'd play on the floor and estimate ranges and that nonsense. You couldn't pay me to do that. That just sounds like a freaking headache. Just sitting on the floor is too inconvenient. That's like, nah, not worth it. Some people say you get too old for it. I just think you've played too many games too comfortably to put up with that bull crap. I mean, what I'm playing now, DBA, I'm not even moving. I'm sit down in a chair and I'm a foot from all of my figures, and I get to enjoy them and see them, and I don't have to get up or anything, and it's totally comfortable. Not sitting on a floor where you're constantly reaching over things, and that's just too much work. I could do it if I needed to, but we've all done it. It's with everything else. It's like that's when you get older. It's not like I was saying earlier. I don't feel like I'm old. I just feel like I'm still 25, but I've got 25 years of crap I'm just not willing to put up with anymore because I've done it before. So it's like it's not worth it. So. What is that? Experience? Intolerance? I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, one of those two things. So we did naval in 1/2400 scale, and we did the Command Decision with a micro armor. So that was probably my first miniatures game. And just before that, before I got into miniatures gaming, I had all the 1/72 scale from, the old Airfix kits, which here in the States had been rebranded as MPC kits. And so we had all 1/72 scale tanks and aircraft and all that kind of stuff that I think we were making up our own stupid rules that would be asinine to, I mean, shit, I'm 12 years old, dude, But yeah, that's probably what I started with. So, okay. Have I tried Games Workshop contrast paints? I have not. I actually saw somebody's picture recently that had painted some horses using it. And I thought it was pretty good, but at this point, I don't want to change my painting style because what that means is I may like it more and then I'll have to redo everything. Now, what I may decide to do on these that I really enjoy seeing someone else, enjoy seeing other people do it, is doing the black lining. So I may actually, before these guys are totally sealed, I may try to black line around some of these guys and see if I like how it looks. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take a really thin line and put it in a dividing between some of the colors so that there's more of a contrast between them. So it looks more like a comic book, but a nice one, not a crappy comic book. And I happen to like that look. I didn't start doing that. So I may give that a shot, but I don't want to change how I do horses because I'm really comfortable with how I do them. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be trying the Games Workshop contrast paints. For starters, let's see if we can pull this off. For starters, I don't think I need any paints. I'm pretty much set on having enough. There we go. This is my paint area, and I do need to do a tour video. It's nothing impressive. It's actually pretty minimalistic, I should say, compared to what some people have. They have a huge area, but I've got all the paints I could possibly need, plus I mix other colors, so I'm not looking to buy into the Games Workshop contrast paints. Also, we have only one shop in town that carries them, and they're perpetually out of things. The COVID thing has not been good to the restocking ability of some of these places, and our local shop is just doesn't have anything. So um, I love Game Workshop paints starting off. Like you can see, I still have. They're not Games Workshop. They're Citadel Color. And hold on a second. Oh, they're still made in the UK. Well, good for them. They didn't send them off to some silly place with poor quality control. So yeah, so this is so these are the original ones, and I still have many of these that still work. And they're still in good shape. I really like this paint. And these are every bit of from 1988 or 1989. Now this is a color I probably haven't used worth a damn. I think I've probably only painted one cape using this color in the last 30 years. So of course it's alive. It hasn't really been opened. But this design was good. Then they went to the ones that had the hard shell. I'm not sure I even have one of those left because they were like good for like 2 uses, and then they hardened up. And now the ones they've gone to, which is this style, I'm happy with those. These are rubberish as these are. Actually, they're a combination of the two. I think that this bottom portion is hard. It doesn't give much. This gives a little everywhere around it, and that's what gives it a good seal. Is it's all the rubberization to it. You get a good seal on it. But I'm happy with this type of paint. I use this for their metallics. It's much better than the Vallejo metallics. I like Vallejo, but their metallics are not they're not great. I have them other than my bronze, which I use this. See, here's bronze corner down here at the bottom. There's always a corner in all my things where I have the bronze because I really use that color a lot. But their silver and stuff, it's kind of gummyish. Now here's a relic from a bygone age. Here is my I still haven't thrown this one away. I use the hell out of this. This is the old chainmail from the same vintage. But this one's, I think this one's dead. I'm pretty sure this one's completely dead. I haven't used it in 10 years, maybe longer. But I still have the bottle. Go figure. This mithril silver, it's probably 60% full, and it's still plenty alive. The only gripe these paints had is the little nib back here that connects the top and the bottom will end up breaking, and then you've got a separate lid from the bottom. And also the front part, it's supposed to have like a little, this little lip here on the front, that comes off also. That broke off from opening and closing it so many times. But if I want my brightest silver that I own, that's this right here. This is the mithril silver original, good stuff from the late 80s. So, yeah, this stuff from when the Soviet Union was still around. Anyhow, so yeah, that I love that stuff. Now they didn't have a good color selection for like historical stuff, but there's some colors that that'll work just fine. Yeah, I've got probably a dozen of those. They hang out down here at the bottom. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my setup. I keep saying I need to do a video of that, but I'm trying to knock these guys out, and but I use all kinds of paints, and I even tried some of the. I keep wanting to call them War Master, and they're not War Master. They are called Army Painter. War paints, Army Painter war paints, and they're okay. They remind me of another paint that I don't have any more of. It died on me. I want to say it was a Raupartha. They have kind of that consistency of the Raupartha paint. I don't love them. They got a little bit more acrylic and less tint than I care for. They don't apply very smooth. I don't love them. Will I buy more of them? Sure. Just so I can have a variety of browns and stuff like that. And that's what it was. I picked up a yellow from them, and probably like 3 or 4 browns when I was at the last show that a person seemed to, there was a vendor that was selling them just kind of on a whim to see if I'd like them. But no, I don't like them more than the Vallejos. So, but I still use them. So, oh my goodness, I gotta catch up here. Oh boy. They were Airfix kits in Kansas when I lived. Yeah, they were all rebranded for MPC, and they would either have these little coupons on the side where you could mail them and get other kits. I ended up mailing some, and I actually got I think it was the Prinz Eugen that I got in the mail. I'd gotten the Bismarck and the Ajax and the Exeter and the Graf Spee, and had enough of those little coupons to get the Prinz Eugen in the mail. I also had the Repulse too, 1/600 scale models. Before we did any wargaming, that's what I was doing. And I don't think there was any models at that time that were waterline, so you're stuck with the stuff that's underwater that nobody wants to see that part anyways, so. You've been tempted buying a bunch of them, but not painting them and just playing with the bare models to get that feel as a kid. Yeah, check out Zona Alpha by Osprey. Near future, post-apocalypse Russian gangs going into danger zones for loot. Use a simple set of rules or probably need to base them. Stand on a table. Okay, cool. Argax Earthshade for life. Okay. That sounds like this stuff that I have here. What is it? Oh my gosh. Can I join your club now? I got Argax Earthshade. I picked this up. This is like the brown version of Nuln Oil, I guess. And I haven't used it yet. I haven't used this Earthshade yet. I don't know why. I was going to use it for like rusty type things on some vehicles, but honestly, I haven't done any gasoline vehicles since November of last year. So yeah, that's another game that we played, but the last time we played it, we didn't finish it. It's not time efficient. It's a great game. It's just not time efficient. So it's not as time efficient as DBA, I should say. Okay, by the way, I'm now playing Poland Defiant board game, German attacking Poland. Yeah, I saw you had pictures of that. Citadel paint pots were meant for spilling. The tall ones, yeah, I guess they were a little top heavy. I don't know that I lost one of them though. Bolt gun metal was another great Citadel metallic. Yeah, that was the dark one. Yeah, bolt. Oh my God. Every time you mention something, dude, I have it. Here it is, bolt gun metal. Is this thing alive? Is it alive? Let's see. No, it's dead too. Yeah, it was bolt gun metal was the darker one, and then you had chainmail was the mid shade, and then mithril silver is the light one. So bolt gun metal should be the same as lead belcher, okay? And then chainmail is the same as Ironbreaker. And then I didn't buy a new one in the mithril because, like I said, I got 60% of this one. This one's good to go, so I don't need to buy any of that. But yeah, look at that. Let's see what else you mentioned that I happen to have. I don't know why I've kept these. They're totally dead. But you know what? I'm not going to get rid of them now. They might come up in future conversation. Good times, good times, good times. Let's see. Let's catch up. Army Painter is what I have. You need BBs and nail polish shaker to use them. I'm not going to go the nail polish because it's just too damn noisy. But I did pick these up about a year ago, and I've used quite a few of them. I didn't go and drop them in every one of them, but I did. But I do put one in as needed. So I bought them. I'm like, I probably just pissed away $6. Nope, it was a good investment. So yeah, the Army Painter ones I have seem to flow okay. They just have a lot of the acrylic in them, and not as much tint, so they're more transparent. So even the damn company, even Army Painter is what I have. You need BBs and a nail polish shaker to use them. Even the damn company knows that you need to use those two things. I don't want to use a nail polish thing. It's just too, selling BBs. You're right. It just dawned on me. Well, there's a money-making scheme. We'll make a bunch of paint, and it's gonna like suck, and you're gonna need to buy BBs from us to put them in there. Oh man, that the mixing balls don't work with all colors. They don't work with, for instance, let me find it. It is this guy right here, I believe. Nope, wrong one. It's this guy right here. I believe it's this one. No, because it's one that has a BB. Anyways, it's a yellow. Of course it'd be yellow, right? Yellows are the ones that misbehave. But the problem is that it's really clumpy, and it is this one. Look what happened to it. I got in a fight with this thing so much, I ended up ripping the top of it off just to get some of the clumps. This paint, for whatever reason, clumps up a lot. And then when it comes out in this, it's like totally watery, or it's these big clumps that you have to kind of mix on here. And I've tried putting BBs in this thing, and there's just no hope for this damned color called ice yellow. So I think what happened is this particular color was sitting on a shelf so long, I ended up in the early 2000s selling all of my things that I didn't care for anymore. Like all of my 1/2400 scale ships that had been painted probably 15 years before and kind of look shitty, and I didn't like them. I ended up selling a bunch of those on eBay and using the funds to buy into all the model colors. So little by little, I would go order these. I believe these are from Brookhurst Hobbies, back in the early 2000s when they had inventory of the things that I liked. It seems like they're low on just everything that I'm interested in these days. But we used to joke that they would send them. They're in California, and you'd order them on a Monday, and by Thursday you'd have them. And this is like in the early 2000s. So the big joke is, we would get them before we asked for them. They were that quick. But I have a feeling that this particular color is not a very useful color. It was probably sitting on the shelf for a long time, unmixed, and it just kind of unnaturally separated. But it's the exception. I only have, of the couple hundred colors that I have, there's probably only 2 or 3 that are as bad as this one, and it's okay. I ended up squeeze a bunch on the napkin. I saw somebody else do that in a video, and then take it from the napkin and put it there, because you don't want all that extra acrylic floating around your palette going crazy. But yeah, the mixing balls even couldn't help that one. But yeah, mixing balls made by Army Painter, and they make the paint too. It's interesting. Let's see. Take a look at Dracula's America 28mm Wild West skirmish with supernatural elements. Brookhurst is an amazing store. Lived down the street from them in the early 2000s, but I wasn't in the hobby yet. Tried buying the wooden DVA sticks from your guy, but he's not prepared for internet sales. Yeah, so here's the deal. I don't understand how some people can't. The hardest thing about running a business from an outsider would be to make sure you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, with the taxes and the incorporation there, and make sure you have stuff so you don't try to do a good job and the government comes in and hits you with some hefty fine. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to tell my employees about that. That's all the hard part. The easy part is putting your products on the internet and taking a picture of them, or use PayPal. I mean, you can PayPal me. If you say, Tony, I love you, I want to send you $250. Please don't. But well, you're allowed to love me, but I don't need the $250, thankfully. You can send me money, and I use it. And I'm not particularly electronic savvy. I'm really not. I kind of try things by trial and error, and if it gets too difficult, then I'm not interested in it, because technology is cool, but those guys that come up with it change it every freaking 3 months, and it's not my business I'm not in that I don't want to relearn everything every 6 months. You know, it's like all of a sudden, like every 6 months, I've got to relearn how to paint things. It doesn't work that way. That's why I do this. But I digress. So we had bought these sticks. Okay, we bought these sticks from if it's the same place I'm thinking of, it's called Dave's Baggage Train, and they sell a lot of containers and stuff to, like if you've got those big bundles and stuff of those. What's the word I'm thinking of? Those carrying cases, but they're almost like a gym bag, and inside they make like these plastic inserts that well, I'll show you one of them. I bought one. I only needed one. Mitch ended up buying 3 or 4 of them. This is their, I don't know if this is their proprietary product, but this is really what they sell. And they sell these in various different sizes. Okay? All right. And along with this, they had all these cool measuring devices that are what we use in our videos. And they're really nice because they're thin, so you can get them in places that you would normally be able to get them in. They're only like 5 millimeters thick, but they come with all the lengths. And they're awesome. So we picked them up at Historicon probably 4 years ago and used them. And then we're like, okay, well, we want to order more. And we emailed them like, well, I don't have them on my website. I'm like, okay, so put them on your freaking website so we can sell them, because we'll promote stuff. We don't want a kickback from products. We just want people see our stuff and they think it's cool, and we want to help your business by helping you sell some of these other things. We don't need a kickback or nothing. It's just what you do to make sure everybody stays in the hobby, right? And no, I don't have them on the website. So the following year, we went to Historicon again, bought more, and we said, hey, we got a lot of people asking us for these things. Can you put them on there so that we can order them and stuff? And I guess it's just like talking to a door. They're not interested in, and they weren't being assholes or anything, but it's like, people want your product. You're in a business to sell things, and you have those things to sell. Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. But we tried. It's a great product. And this Historicon, we were planning on buying a bunch of them and then selling them here on our own. We weren't going to mark them up or anything, just because I know people like those. But we know what happened with this year. So, let's see. I tried buying the wooden DBA sticks from your guy, but he said, well, he's not my guy. If he was my guy, I'd slap the shit out of him and say, you're going to sell them. Damn it. This is America. We sell things. Oh, it sticks. Get their act together. It sticks. Nobody else has anything like them. They're super nice. They hate cash. You know what? I hate cash too. I hate physical cash, but I use debit for everything. So, I call it invisible cash. And they did it because they wanted to end everything in 43 and 47. And like, you need to round up the nearest dollars or 25 cents or whatever. I use debit all the time. But actually, there was a vendor talking about people that don't know how to run their business. And this isn't really a rip on anybody. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I don't think they're in business anymore. But, when you're in this hobby, nobody's in this hobby really this is not a money-making hobby, okay? Nobody gets in it, and all of a sudden they're just rolling in the dough. So we as consumers, if we want there still to be people selling these products, we kind of have to buy them. I mean, you can't Amazon everything, okay? And to save a few bucks. I worked at a hobby store for several years as a part-time job, and in the late 80s, early 90s, and people would notoriously go and mail order stuff and wait for it just to save 10%. That's just stupid, okay? When you can just buy it in the store and support the actual store. I'm going to ignore the chat for a little bit, but I'll look at it in a little bit so that I can at least get some painting done. But I am enjoying this, so thank you. This is very interactive, and I am quite awake now without having to drink my coffee that I normally drink. But people would mail order stuff just to save 10%, and who knows if they got it and all that, and not support their local business. It's not like you're getting it for half off or something like that. It's only 10%. But so you kind of have to support your local shops, or they're not going to be there for that paint that you might need that one time. But by the same token, if the local shop is just knuckleheaded and doesn't want to make it easy for the consumer, like I know one place still to this day that you cannot use. What can't you do? You can't email them. You can't email them an order. You can't use a credit card. You have to. They're overseas from us, so you have to call them by phone. That's it. I'm out. I don't know how much it costs to call overseas, and I'm not interested, and I'm not going to pay for it because that's just ridiculous. When you can be, when you can pay for something immediately, and the people can get their money and they can start working on getting the order to you, not wait like a week to get a freaking check or however long it takes now. But there was another guy that was selling at Historicon like the first year or so that I went, and he was selling figures by the each. Well, if you know anything how I put together armies, figures by the each, that's what I want, right? Because I can customize and mix the, I don't want 12 with the same pose. I want a mixture of different poses. And so that's really cool. And he only took cash and checks, which I don't know why anyone would take a check, because that's a risk of it bouncing, right? If you do a credit card, yeah, they charge you a credit card fee. Okay, so mark everything up. I don't see what the problem is, But anyways, he took cash and checks, and but he wouldn't do mail order. The only way I could mail order him was I needed to mail him a check. So I'd have to put an order through the mail and then send him a check, which I haven't written a check in. It's not true. I wrote one a few months ago, but I hadn't written one before for probably 20 years. And I'm just not going to go to that. I'm not going to go to, well, I hope the check gets there. That's just, come on, dude. We have the internet. I don't understand. I mean, like I said, I don't even have a business. I don't know how to run a business, but you can still send me money. So I want people to be successful in the things they do, but sometimes it's like, they don't want to do things a certain way. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want people to be successful. There's not that many people that go to shows. I've gone to Historicon every year since 2006. I went 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, through 19. Obviously, we didn't have one this year. And every year there was less and less products that interested me, which is basically ancients, medieval, 15 millimeter. There was less vendors, less had that. So I'd like to support the ones that do come, but yeah, I don't understand why someone wouldn't take a method that gets them their cash from me immediately. So uh, anyhow, that was my ramble. So I don't know why they still haven't put those on their website. I mean, designing a website's got to be difficult. I don't know how to do that. But once you have it, how about modify it a little bit? Or I don't know. I looked about 6 months ago to see if possibly they had added it on there. All they've got to put is a little note there, movement stands, $15 or however much they were. They're like 15, $12, something like that. And show like one picture of them. No, they didn't want to put them on there. Well, it sucks because I want them to sell some. So I was like, screw it. We're going to buy a whole bunch. Mitchell's going to buy, a whole bunch. We probably would have bought 5 packs each and just sell them to our guys at the shows here. And we're not going to sell them for $20 freaking dollars. That's not, I'm a capitalist, but I'm also, I'm not that kind of an asshole. So, people want to get the product and it's cool. They're really handy. So there was another, just before, an even cooler product than those sticks. There was a company, I want to say it was out of Pensacola, Florida, and they came to one of our shows in Florida, and they were selling movement sticks, and I can't find one now. I don't think I can find one. Yeah, I shouldn't. I shouldn't sell myself low like that. I found one. They sold. These are. I don't know why I have this one. This has got to be Mitch's, because look at these colors. Here's Mitch's Packers colors. He lives and breathes that. I have a red and a yellow one somewhere for my Spanish at the time. That's what I got them from, and they're removable sections, so you can make them however long you want. Okay. And obviously you don't have to alternate the colors, but when you do, even if you don't alternate the colors, you can still see that there is you can still see the mark in between the two colors. So if you wanted one that was like, say, all green or all red or all of one color, that would work. But they came out with these just before DBA 3.0 came out. And what happened is now DBA 3.0 is in base widths, so 40 millimeter sections, and this is in an inch. So each one of these are an inch. But I think this method's actually better than the wooden one, because this isn't going to break. I mean, I guess it could break, but it's not going to snap. But it's useless because it's inches, not in base widths, 40 millimeter sections. Or even if it was in 20s, that would be okay, because you could move half base widths and something like that. So this unfortunately is useless. But they came out with it just before DBA 3.0 came out. So that would have been maybe 2012 or something like that. They came to one of our shows and sold this, but this is a great product because they had different colors, so you could do black and green, or this brass color in the red like I had the other one, or blue, and you could customize to whatever it is you want. But they don't make them in they make them in just inches, so that's unfortunate. But that was a great product as well. So all those little things. I mean, I guess you could make your own movement thing. The first movement stick I ever made, I actually made it. It was a little dowel and I painted on it, but that was many moons ago. It's nice to just have something that is already done up. So yeah, but we want them to put those wooden ones on the site, and yeah. Let's see. Shipping notification by smoke signals. Yeah, so I'm kind of miffed a little bit. Nah, no, I'm not. I'm disturbed by the people that I ordered my mounted figures, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I had sent the order in on the 3rd of August. I ordered 6 packs of these guys, and I'm going to do an unboxing. Not because I want them to give me anything, but they're cool to do. I love doing unboxing stuff. I like doing them as I see them because you never know what's going to happen, But I mailed it. I sent over my order on the 3rd, pay for it immediately, and didn't hear for them for like a week and a half. And so I contacted them through the Facebook Messenger because that's a really fast way to get a response. I hardly use email for anything anymore, for personal stuff. I don't use personal email. So if you email me, if you know my personal email, you email me, it may be 4 days or something before I even look at it. It's just too clunky. It's clunky on the phone and so forth. But regardless, I contacted them. They replied to me immediately, and I was like, hey, do you just want to make sure you guys got my order, because I hadn't gotten a notification or anything about it. And they're like, yeah, well, we've been really busy. There's only one guy doing the casting. And just so you know, some people have experienced their parcels arriving in 2 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's good to know. I'm not really in a hurry for them because I kind of planned it kind of well in advance. I just want to make sure you guys had the order and we're working on it. Do you typically send a notification or whatever when you ship them? And they claimed that they had notified me on by email, but I checked my spam folder and I didn't get it. Anyways, long story short, I didn't know that they had gotten my message. The guy replied to me. That was cool. I just knew they had the order and I was being patient. Well, now we're almost up to like 3 weeks and I still haven't gotten a notification they have shipped. So I understand you told me that the shipping times were slow, and I kind of expect that, but you're telling me you haven't shipped my order 3 weeks from the time I ordered it? I mean, I knew you got to cast it, but that's kind of unreasonable. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm just fortunate that I ordered it this far in advance. Because now what happens is, so I've emailed him. I think I finally gave up. I'm like, man, I guess I'm going to start being that pesty guy that keeps pestering. But you know, if you deal with customers, which I do at my job, if you want to get a customer to shut the hell up, you need to take care of them, right? I mean, when I ask them, you bend over, but it's like, hey, customer wants an answer. They want to know when they can get such and such product, which is what I do. I end up doing shipping for a construction company. They want to know when they can get certain items. So give them an answer, you know, so they have something to, so they can move on to something else. So I responded to him the same way, and I haven't heard back from him. So I know I'll get him eventually, but I'm checking my mail every day when I come into work. You know, coming home. You know, it's like, well, I wonder if they're in the mail already. You know, so I'm going a little cuckoo, but yeah, it is what it is. It's just kind of weird that they would be operating that way. It almost seemed like they had a lot more demand for product because of people sitting at home and doing hobby stuff, but they had less people working in the facility to produce it. So, but anyhow, I'll be patient. But it was just kind of strange that they just wouldn't respond to someone. But oh well. I guess it's better than them telling me that, hey, they shipped yesterday and they didn't, because that would be worse. You know, when you don't know an answer, you know, that's what I say at work. If you don't know something, just say you don't know. I mean, nobody has the answers to everything, but don't pass around misinformation. So, okay, so let's see here. Shipping notification, my smoke signals. I have Alexandrian Imperial Macedonians for DBA that have not painted yet. That's a great army. I want to buy a 3D printer for terrain and templates. I do not, because the first time I'm going to experience issues with them, and they're not going to work one day when they're working fine, and they. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by another email. You know, me, the world's worst multitasker. It's going to work one day. I'm going to print something out, and then the next day it won't work, and I'll be frustrated. And I don't need that in my hobby. Chris Brantley, hello, Imperator. If you're talking about Dave's Baggage Train and their Omni sticks, they're online now, but you still have to contact them to make a purchase. I'll have to check that tonight and see if that's the case. Last time I checked, they weren't on there. I don't know what the Omni sticks are called. They're the little sticks that are only like 5 millimeters wide, and I'm not sure that they have a name, but I'll check and see if that's the case. And contacting them is fine. They just weren't online at all, where people could. The ones I was talking about weren't online at all. People wouldn't even know about them, you know. So, I'm like, you make a cool product, man. Let's sell some of it, you know. Especially if they're in our videos and people are going, hey, where'd you get those? Well, we got them at this guy who doesn't want to sell them to anybody. What? You know? Sucker! You know? We got these sticks and they're really cool, and we told him we were going to use them on the video on the only condition that he wouldn't sell to anybody else, so people would be jealous. Oh, man. No, we want them. We want them to sell them like hotcakes. So I'll have to see if they're online. But I don't think these had a name. They're just like they're like laser cut. They're like that standard material. I like to call, you know, the MDF material, which I like to call clipboard. You know, it's the same stuff clipboards are made out of. So I guess you have metal clipboards and plastic clipboards, but your classic clipboard is made out of MDF. Man, what a ramble. Exciting times. Exciting times. Love it. I love talking hobby stuff. Because I can't talk about hobby stuff with people at work. I can't talk with hobby stuff with people that I live with. They just, it's like another language. So, okay, I have talked so much, I rate another beverage. And it will not be an adult beverage because this isn't the Harbach household. 10:15, cool. I'll be right back, folks, in a matter of probably 2 minutes. Okay, as promised, I returned with some ice. I drink everything with ice. Well, except beer. I'm an ice fiend. I'm always warm, so. Coffee, ice. I don't drink warm coffee. It's like my internal temperature is 211 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Let's see if we have anything. We've gained people. I left and more people showed up. I love it. Oh, wait, maybe that's not a good sign. Okay. Kelly Davis, my drink is 4 Roses tonight. That a whiskey? It sounds like it's a whiskey. Kelly, where are you from? I take it you're in North America somewhere because you're on now, and you just don't sound like somebody that would be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. May do some painting tomorrow. I would definitely do some painting tomorrow, but I may do some film painting tomorrow earlier so we can get some of the UK European guys to chime in here. So, my drink is hot Irish black tea. All right. Well, it's not kid friendly if it's Irish. Michigan. Okay. I bet it's hot up there too. Do you know David Sheps? Well, are you a DBA player? Because if you are a DBA player, then maybe you know David Sheps. If you just do other kind of gaming stuff, then you may not know him. But he's up there in Michigan. He comes down to our cons, when we have them, like any year other than this year. He comes all the way for our cons, and he puts on a game, and he's big into DBA. I think he may play some other systems as well. And I'm not sure if he's outside. I think he's outside of Detroit. Michigan, never been there. It's too far away. It's too far away. And vacation time's way too limited. Except this year where we have too many days and nowhere to go with them. Yeah, I am almost 50. And it wasn't until, if I get this right. 4 years ago or 5 years ago that I had been somewhere where there was snow, like real snow. And it wasn't until the last year, yes, 2019, where I was somewhere where it was snowing while it was actively snowing. I don't want to live in those places, but that's some awesome stuff. I thought it was really, really cool. So, I just assume in wintertime it's snow all the time. That's not the case. The conditions have to be right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I love cold weather, or the cold weather you have here, because we have it. Our cold weather comes with beautiful blue skies. That's the weather you want to be outside in. Right now, hell no. It's like real feel, close to 100 degrees, over 60% humidity, thunderstorms every evening. That's the worst. That's the worst part. Hurricanes barreling this way, they won't affect us where we're in the middle of the state. We don't have issues with the hurricanes, but makes everybody crazy, antsy. Cancels a bunch of work at work. People won't want to take things when it's raining all the time. But definitely ready for some cooler weather. Okay, we're going to lighten this up, this final shade, with some white. Do we have some leftover white that was... The white's drying really fast for some reason. That's okay. I just don't want it to dry because it just eliminates a step of me having to go grab more and put it down. Okay, let's do the front of this one a little bit. I thought I had only a little bit of work to do on this, but I've been really inefficient, but that's okay. I've been having fun. I've been less efficient than I thought I was going to be, but I'm having more fun than I thought I was going to have. So there you go. I call that a win. As long as I finish this one dude tonight, I'm good. Then I can say, I'm halfway done. And then I'll wake up at dark 30 in the morning and start working on these little clowns over here. So, and dark 30 is 5 a.m. 5 a.m. every day. That way you don't hate a work day because you have to wake up earlier than you normally do. It's the same time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cheer wine. Gotta jump and film a turn. May be back. Cool. Nope. Newbie to DVA. Okay. Snows end of December to 1st of April in Michigan. Okay. Excellent. I don't want to shovel it, but it's beautiful. We went to, last year we went to, for spring break, we went to Colorado. In March. And we went up in the mountains and snowed. Colorado's the anti-Florida. Everything Florida has, Colorado's upside down. It's like Colorado's bizarro Florida. You know, here we've got more trees than you could throw a stick at. There, it could be very arid. Here it's totally flat. There there's no flat spots at all. Here you can't see very far because of all the vegetation. There you're going out in the countryside and you can see it's almost like the Russian steppes. You can see like a town and obviously every part of Colorado is differently, but we took a drive around and it's just amazing. It's just just a totally different experience. But I wouldn't want to live there because I can't handle the having to drink 2 of these of water every hour, or I get a massive headache. I just no, that was brutal. It wasn't the altitude; it was the dryness. Killed me. So I like cold and wet. So where do I need to go for cold and wet, folks? Germany? Denmark? I like cold and wet because the wet's good for me. So we went to one place in Colorado. I was actually, I was having iced coffee outside in 18-degree weather, and I was perfectly fine. I mean, obviously I had a jacket on, but it's fine because it gets to 18 degrees here, but it's a wet 18 degrees, and that'll penetrate, and it's a lot colder at a wet 18 than a dry 18. A dry 18 wasn't a big deal. It was like, whatever. It felt like it was like, I don't know, 40 or 40 here. It wasn't that big a deal, you know? So, Seattle or Portland? I can't go to Seattle or Portland, especially now. Not after 2020. I don't want to be anywhere near a big metropolitan area. We're good here with our 150,000 people. We're plenty good here. And Chris, by the way, thank you very much on those 2 Scottish guys. I will put that to good use. Greatly appreciated. I'm surprised it was so difficult to find out information on them, because you can find out lots of guys that were at Bannockburn, but it was difficult to find out anybody that was, there afterwards. So we're going to be doing on that stand. We're going to be doing those 2 guys that you sent me the information on, and Edward the Bruce on there as well on that stand, which is interesting because of those 3 guys, Edward the Bruce has the least complicated heraldry of all. So, which is really interesting, because usually the guy who has the most complicated livery is usually the general, the main guy. And in this case, Robert the Bruce, all he is on a white background, he has a single red chevron on him, and then the other guy, well, one of the guys looks like he has pillows. Literally, there are pillows, and then the other guy, those aren't pillows. And the other one has, sorry, he's got a lion. He's got a white lion with a black slash through it, a jagged slash. So we'll paint those 2 guys up. The main guy is going to be the most boring looking guy. So that's why I think what I'm going to do is those 2 other knights, I'm going to mount them on a horse, but the horse is not going to have, it won't be caparisoned. Is that how you say it? It won't have the cloth on it, okay? Because if you put the cloth, then you have to put their heraldry on the cloth. And then definitely the guy who is the least complicated, well painted is going to be the leader, and I don't really want to do that. So see, look at all these things that I'm thinking ahead of time before I do it. So we're going to do those 2 other guys, but they're going to be on a horse that doesn't have any of the cloth on them. They're just going to have their heraldry on their shield and on their not their tunic, but the little clothy thing they wear. Hey, it's 10:30 at night. I can't think anymore. But yeah, they're going to have that, and only Edward the Bruce will have it on his horse. So that's at least my rationalization at this point in time on it. But thank you so much for the information on those 2 other knights, because that stuff just isn't. It's difficult to find. Now, if I'm going to do feudal English is going to be easy, because feudal English, I just go to they've got that roll of the shields that were at Falkirk, because my feudal English will have Longshanks at the helm, and there's lots of stuff available for Falkirk, So I was kind of surprised that coming up with 2 other Scottish knights would have been so difficult, but I greatly appreciate it. So hopefully we can, when it's time to paint them up, I can do them justice. So But I'm looking forward to painting those guys. I just got to work up to them, you know. I've got to earn painting really cool guys. I got to paint more boring guys. All right, so this guy, it's mustache time. It's everybody's favorite time, mustache time. This guy is a blonde, so this guy will be a redhead. Okay, so let's go grab our redhead blend here, which is, we're going to use orange brown today. Let's put some of this down. Obviously overkill every time. I don't care what method you use, you end up wasting 10 times more paint than you ever use. That's just one of those things, you know. And get some black. I could use brown, but use black in this case. And get a really deep color here. We're gonna paint his whole mustache. He's got big, he's like a land walrus. He's got big long mustache. Hey, you with big long mustache. Yeah, what? So that's how they decided to craft this guy. Kind of has a helmet, looks like a cone head too. Poor guy. No wonder he's angry. And a little bit more. And let's add a little, tiny little bit of white. And then all we'll have left to do with this guy is the blade of the axe and some shoes. Oh, we still have to do the little things on the sword. Yeah, that's no time stuff. Okay. Now, do we still have this stuff alive? We do. Yes. So we're going to paint the guard and the pommel. And we've been using some black and gray. If any of you guys have an Android phone, I keep getting this notification. I keep getting this notification for years. It really doesn't do anything. It's like a fake notification. It's a notification that's a pop-up that comes up that says, Amazon has stopped working. Do you want to close? So you go, yeah. And it doesn't do anything. I've even been on Amazon before when that notification comes up and said close it, and Amazon doesn't close. So it's like it's a fake notification. I have a Samsung phone, so maybe that's something proprietary to that, but I've looked it up and I can't seem to get that to stop happening. It just happened right there. But it might happen once a day. Doesn't happen more often than that. Maybe twice a day. Don't know how to solve it. That's why I say I don't like technology. Is I can have a problem like that, take it to someone and say, hey, how do you fix this? And then they'll give me an answer or not, and still not be able to fix it. Things are just too complicated these days, you know? But again, I just figured I'd mention that because I just got that notification. I'm like, hey, maybe some people will know what the hell that is. And it's funny because I just upgraded phones. Um, we'll say a month ago. It was a little bit longer than a month, but less than 2 months. And it happened on my old phone all the time. I got this one, immediately started happening on this one as well. So I don't know if it's some slight incompatibility problem or something like that, but that's that's why I have a hard time getting excited about these technology things, because there's always hiccups and stuff like that. I'll get excited about figures because, hey, I don't all of a sudden forget how to paint them, or they fall over and melt into a pile of goo. They're still figures, you know? So that's why I don't want a 3D printer. There's lots of stuff to print out there. I need help painting. I got plenty of things to paint. I don't need more things to, you know, to make like that. So, what I am going to do for this army is I'm going to make me a little castle. And one of the first things I ever did for DBA was I made not one of the first things, but a while ago. Let's see, it was for my Koreans, and my Koreans were my third army, I believe I built. I made a little walled camp for them, and the walled camp was made out of like that blue high density styrofoam, and it is really easy to use. It's not very durable. Like if you sit on it, it's over. But I painted up, and it turned out really, really well. But I'm going to do that with the same thing for these guys for an Irish castle, and I'm going to base the Irish castle on this castle that we have. Maybe an hour and a half from here, there's a place called St. Augustine, which most of you probably know about St. Augustine. It's the first continuous settled place in North America by the Europeans. So, you know, I want to put all those things in there, you know, because I haven't found a Viking one, and it wasn't continuously settled. But anyways, it was settled and founded in 1565. It's maybe an hour and a half away from here. On the outskirts of St. Augustine, right on the coast, this guy decided to make this castle that was based on a 10th century Irish castle. It's called Castle Otis. You can look it up on the internet. Ottis. Ottis. 3 T's. And it's a semi-religious. It's not really known. It's not really owned by a church. It's owned by an individual, but they hold like Christian non-denominational services in there. But I think one of the guys that did it was a carpenter, and the other one was a mason, and they built this thing over the series of 5 or 6 years in the late '80s. So, boom, you got the beach road. You've got the beach. You got the houses on the beach. You got A1A that runs right by the beach, and then one block over, bam, here's this 4-story tall Irish castle. And so I'm going to build a little styrofoam castle based on that. I'm going to attempt to. I should say a castle inspired by that. Okay, so that's at least because I have been wanting to get back to doing another one of those styrofoam castles. So, and it's just that high density. It's the stuff that looks like this. That usually comes in pink or blue. This isn't. This is actually a packing material from a card game, but it looks like this. And obviously, if I squeezed it, it's not going to bounce back because it gets damaged. But it's high density stuff, and it's easy to score and make it look like bricks and stuff like that. So that's on the horizon as well. I don't want to get sidetracked on those side projects, and then not get the meat and potatoes of these guys done, because, you know, without an army, they won't. What good's a castle, right? So, but yeah, that's coming up. Check it out, Castle Otis. Ottis. So, I think it's three. I think they made it 3 T's, so that it would be the 3 crosses on Calvary. It's funny. So many people say Calvary when they want to say cavalry. I have to speak slow to say Calvary and not cavalry instead. But yeah, I think that's why they did the 3 T's, to the representation there of the of the three crosses on that hill. So we've got to do an axe. Me axe. There's that ball bearing. I wonder if they really are stainless. I wonder if they're if after 10 years or so they're going to start oxidizing and turn the paint around, alter the paint. Okay, I think this one's too fine for that. I don't want to use a brush that's too fine for some of these things because I'm going to need them for doing phases and stuff like that. That's really what their purpose in life is. I thought I relegated this other brush to being over here. Maybe I didn't. Okay, well, I guess I'll use one of these brushes. That's fine. It's not like they can't do the job. They're a little too precise. You know, it's like you're going to go mow a lawn, but you said, you know what? I'm not going to use a lawnmower today. I'm going to use a weed whacker. You could mow a lawn with a weed whacker. It's just going to take forever. It's really not something that's what it's geared for. So my original goal is to have this guys done by St. Patrick's Day. I've been saying for years, I'm like, man, I gotta get an Irish Army done for St. Patrick's Day. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna have them drink with me or something like that. I don't know why. It would just seem like the thing to do, to say that. And I think I started these guys early enough this year that I think we'll be able to make that. But the interesting thing, and I mentioned this in another video, is with no conventions on the foreseeable horizon. In other words, I don't know when the hell we're going to have another convention. I mean, I'm not planning on one at a certain time, you know, so I'm kind of a little tired of having the rug pulled out from under me. I'd rather just kind of, you know, go with the flow and we'll go to the next one that they have. But with that said, without a certain deadline that I have to get armies done by, I'm getting a lot more painting done now than I ever have. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to use Coat the Arms Khaki for this one, and this is another one that the little nib. Well, this would be the nib, but the connection between the top and the oh, it's still connected. Awesome. I was going to say this one broke off, but no, it's still connected here. That's cool. Yeah, I love these paints. I love these Coat the Arm paint. I wish there was a shop I could walk into and get more. I really don't want to mail order them. It's not like I'm out of paint. All right, let's paint some shoes. And then this clown's done. Okay, let's lighten this up. I don't know why they would call this khaki. It's got definitely a green tinge to it. That's okay. I don't care what the hell the color's called. I'll use it just the same. All And then we're going to lighten up with white. I think this guy's done. We're going to need to do a wash on the axe head so that we could do a wash and then highlight it a little bit later. Nothing big. It won't make a huge difference, but here we go. 6 of them. 6 more to go. Then all the blades are done. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, you should be able to get up early, and hopefully I don't oversleep like I had to do last week. I think what happened is one of the days I stayed up too late, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. I know what it was. It was last Friday where we gamed, and I needed to upload the video and stuff like that. I decided this Friday wasn't gonna do any gaming. So we got a game coming up on Monday, supposedly, so we'll be filming that. So here we go. Here's the 6 guys. They'll just be sitting here and waiting for the other 6 to be done, and then we will we'll end up varnishing all of them together. So anyway, thanks for joining me tonight, guys, and it's been almost 2 hours of doing this, so I only got one guy done, but I had good times talking about books and so forth and other stuff we enjoy the hobby. So we'll catch you guys next time, maybe even tomorrow. Okay, until then, happy painting, and you guys have a good night. See ya.